There we go. All right, let me just put this up so I can see the chat window. The HiTechNomad here, and I have resorted to this. I'm going to do this live because I figure if I do this live, I will do it quick and I will get it out of the way because I've had writer's block. I have to turn the sound down. Where's the sound? There it is. There we go. So we're going to turn the sound down while we do this. So, the HiTechNomad here. And today we're going to take a look at, let's say a little bit more light. Alexa, turn on studio lights. There we go. Okay, so now we have plenty of light. And again, if you're just joining me, I am Orman Beckles, the HiTechNomad. I do a bunch of different tech videos, how to make Alexa turn off lights that you would not normally be able to turn on and off. That's one of the videos that's down there. But I have a bunch of projects that I want to do with you guys, and I want to use what's called a Raspberry Pi. So I got to get through the intro for what the heck a Raspberry Pi is. So I've been trying to edit it for like 2.5 weeks, and it's god-awful boring. So I decided I'm going to do live. So live it's a little bit different, so that way if you guys want to chat with me, you can. So if I got to do a live, and then I'll save the live stream, but I have to keep going because it's live. So what is a Raspberry Pi? A Raspberry Pi is it's the name of a small, cheap computer that basically comes in 2 sizes. And you can use it as a regular full computer if you so desire. You can do a bunch of different things with it. It's a hobbyist computer. It's a computer that people use to do different things with, like we're going to do. But what we're going to do is we're going to do things with Amazon Echoes that include this. And we're going to do things with Android phones and iPhones and all kinds of neat stuff. But I had to go over with you guys what these things were to begin with. Okay, so Raspberry Pi. This runs $5 or $10, and this is called the Raspberry Pi Zero W. And actually, I soldered those pieces on there, so normally this looks just like this. Okay, and I'll go over what's on there in a second. And these lights are hot. And then we have the Raspberry Pi 2 Model 3. There's a new one out. That's why I was hesitating here. But basically, one looks like this and one looks like this. Now, let's take a look at the small one first. There is a port for a monitor. For a camera. There's a little camera that we can get that we can plug in there. There's a port for power. There's a USB port. And we can make that more than one USB port by plugging in little adapters. There's a mini HDMI. The main chip, these what they call GPIO pins, which is we can hook wires to it and do all kinds of neat stuff. And if you're not a wires person, if you're not a soldering person, don't worry. Half of these projects, all you need to do is just put a chip in here and do a couple of things and you'll be all set. So don't freak out about that. So anyway, and instead of a hard drive, because most computers you might think of as a hard drive, it uses an micro SD card. That's what it uses to store all its different pieces. Now, that's the Zero. This runs around $29, and you're paying for all the extra stuff. So you're paying for, it is faster, and in fact, the new one is extremely fast, and in some cases, we will need the faster chip in here. But both are the same. So if you do something with this and you go, that's really slow, you can just pop out the SD card, pop it in here, power it back up, and you've got the same thing, just faster. Okay, so you're paying extra. So what you're paying for is you're paying for the extra speed. You're paying for there's a monitor port. They have a specific monitor. You can use a little monitor strip. Boy, these lights are hot. So the monitor strip, you got a camera for your camera attachment. You have a full HDMI instead of the micro. You have a full Ethernet connection, and then you have 4 USB on boards, and then you have those same GPIOs, the same pins, but they've already soldered them in. If you don't, when you get the Zero comes like that. And if you want pins, you can buy it, I think, for an extra $10. You can buy a 0 with the pins on, or you can solder them in yourself. Don't worry about that. But I'm just pointing out why one is 10 and one is 20 to 30. And you can get these online. You can get them on all kinds of different stores. Now, there's a lot of people that are much better at explaining Raspberry Pis than I am. So I'm going to let you go off and do that. But I just wanted you to know that we have 2 sizes that we're going to work with. Now, we also have some little cases. And it's actually funny. They actually have cases made out of different materials that cost more than the device on the inside. So you can go crazy with this, or you can stay cheap. So let's say you bought one of these. When you buy it, it comes in a little baggie. Comes a little baggie like this. I actually have all my zeros in here. So it comes in a little baggie like this. This was 10. Okay. Take one out. You get an SD card. Now remember, the SD card is going to act like the hard drive. And what's really cool about that is that you can move them around and you can do things with them. I have a bunch of different projects going on. That's probably a little confused, a little annoying to watch me do that, but that's all right. I have a bunch of different projects going on, and I actually have the micro SDs in these little containers. And I have some already set and ready to go. I'm just going to take this one that's set and ready to go, but I'll explain to you how I got it to be set and ready to go. So normally what we do is we get an SD card like this. You have to go to a Windows or Mac computer. There is an app that you can use. Those of you who have Samsung DeX, there is an app you can use called Raspi Image Manager, which will put the image on here for you without having to go to a PC. However, once you do that and put that in, you have to run through another step that takes almost 45 minutes. So you can go to a PC and get this done and pop it in and go to the next step, or you can pop this in your DeX, use the Raspi card to put the image on, and then when you put the image in, you got to wait for it to expand and do some other stuff. And that adds about 45 minutes to your life. So you would take the micro SD card, you would put it in I have a little, you can either get the little adapter that comes with, I have a little one here, I'll have links for all this stuff down the bottom. I have a little micro SD card converter. I take this, you pop this into your Windows computer. You then go to the Raspberry Pi Foundation. I'll have a link down to the bottom. There's a thing that says downloads. You're going to download this one file. It's an image file. It's like a big zip file. It's got, the whole thing is ready to go. Then you're going to download another program called Win32 Disk Imager. And you're going to tell it to take that image and put it on this micro SD card. It takes about 7 minutes, and then you're done. Now, me personally, I buy a bunch of SD cards, and when I get ready to do this, I do this to like 5 or 6 of them. Now, you can use them again, but I do it for like 5 or 6. So when I decide I want to do a project with the Raspberry Pi, I can just grab one, throw it in, and I'm ready to go. Okay? Because I can do those ahead of time. And like I said, it doesn't make a difference whether I put it in the Raspberry Pi 2 or the 0, because it doesn't make a difference. They're both the same piece. One has 4 cores, one has 1 core, but don't worry about that. Okay. Once you do that and turn it on, let's actually do that. So I actually have one here. Okay. Now, in my particular case, I have what I like to think of as a little Raspberry Pi workstation. And this Raspberry Pi workstation consists of an Ethernet cable, an HDMI cable, and then I have a little, again, this is cheap money here. This is like a little $10, this is a $10 combo keyboard and mouse, and I plug that in. Now again, you know, if you know me, then you know that I use the Samsung DeX. I'm very religious about it. So I have that all hooked up. So all I really have to do, in fact, let's just, how about some power? That might be helpful too, don't you think? Yeah, let's put some power in. The power is a standard micro USB. Okay. We go ahead, and all I've did now is I pushed the, didn't push it fast enough. I pushed the HDMI switcher so that I switched to, one is going to the DeX and the other one is going to that cable that we had there. Hopefully that'll come up now. I'll give it a second. I just want to watch it. Make sure it comes up. Should come back up. I have this problem sometimes. You don't plug this in all the way. And then we'll do it once more. Third time. Bob's your uncle. This is what I love about doing stuff live. Come on, come on, come on, come on. You'll see. Oh, there he goes. Okay, sorry. So you saw I had the three little raspberries up in the top of the corner. It's now going to finish starting up. You can set it for whatever whatever wallpaper you want. I have it labeled. This is the one I use a lot. This was Maximilian from the Black Hole, for those of you who remember that. And so this is, if you've never seen a Raspberry Pi, this is like a computer. You're all set. You have this really weak version of Office, and I say that not to denigrate it, but just to say it's not like, don't think you can do this and just do Microsoft Office. But if it was somebody, I had my son build his own computer. It's like, oh, I want to get a computer. So I made him build a Raspberry Pi, which was what took like 5 minutes here to put this in a box, download the chip, put the chip in, and plug the stuff in. So it wasn't like we even got our hands dirty. But in any event, and that has, Word, Excel, all that kind of stuff so that you can play with it. It also has some programming languages, and it has, just a bunch of little starter stuff. That in itself is fun to play with. But okay, so once we do that, then we're going to go to Preferences, and we're going to go to Raspberry Pi Configurator. And what we really want to do for right now is click on Interfaces. These are different things that we can turn on and off. And the one that we want to turn on is VNC, which is short for Virtual Network Computing. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow us to talk to the Raspberry Pi without having the monitor hooked up. So there are ways, for those of you who want to get really technical, do not start putting tons of comments. There are ways of setting up a Raspberry Pi with no monitor whatsoever. You plug it into your computer. But I'm saying, for most of us, this is what you're going to do. You're just going to plug it into your monitor for a couple of minutes. You're going to turn on VNC. You're going to figure out what IP address that it's coming off of from your house. This is going to be something. It's something. No, actually, you can click on VNC. VNC will tell you. It is running as what? It is running as either 212 or 183. And the reason I'm getting two different numbers is because it has a Wi-Fi card in it. I don't have to hook the network card in it. I can plug just the Wi-Fi card in it. So now that we know that it's either 212 or 183, this is what we're going to do. So I'm going to unplug. I'm going to unplug all that. I'm going to put it back where it was, which was over here, where all I need to do is plug in power. Now on a Raspberry Pi 2, you really need to use a 1 or 2 amp power supply. On the Zero, you can power this off of a USB port on a computer, which I've done. I actually have a little piece here. I got some pieces, some Reese's pieces here. Where are they? They're normally right here, except for when I'm doing a live feed, and I can't find them. Got it! I'll have these down too. These are so cool. It's a micro USB to a full-size USB. And so what that means is that if I plug that in, for example, here, like this, plugs right in, okay? If I do like that, I can now plug this right into the back of a computer or a modem, and that's it. I have a little case, little thin case that I can put on this just to protect it, but I can go ahead and do that. The other thing I can do, the reason I love these little connectors, is that then if I need to plug in something like a thumb drive, I don't have to, boom, thumb drive, plug it right in, okay? So we got all that. Now, we plug that back in, we got this. So now on our Raspberry Pi, we're going to go to the Play Store and we're going to download VNC. Now you can get VNC for Apple, for Mac, you can get it for Windows, you can get it for your Android phone, you can get it for your iPhone. They have it available, so there's no issue there as far as what you want to use it on. I always set my machines up. And then again, once they're set up, I don't care. Because all it needs to do is just be plugged in. Again, remember, this is running off of Wi-Fi. I don't even have to have a cord or anything like that. And I would just go in and put in the IP address, which would be 212 or 183. Or in this case, it's Maximilian. I already named it. Put in my password. I got to hide myself from you guys. Okay. And Bob's your uncle. So I now have total control over this Raspberry Pi just from after we've done that. After we've run VNC, we never ever have to plug it into a computer. Never have to plug it into a monitor again if we decide we don't want to. Now, again, why am I? I'm the TheHiTechNomad. We go over these things. Why am I pushing these things? Why did I want to make sure you knew what these were? Well, we've got, like I said, a bunch of different projects. There's a monitor, a networking monitor that we're going to use. And for $5 or $10 for it to monitor all these pieces and send information back to your phone. Beautiful. That's what we want to use it for. We have another project that we're going to take a look at, which is going to allow us, it's called My Media. And it's a way for you to add your own songs to the Amazon Echo. Because before, they used to allow you to upload the music to Amazon, but they killed that back in December. So you can't upload your own music anymore. And I know why they did that. They wanted you to buy their music. But if you're somebody like me, you have a ton of your own music that they don't have in the cloud. For example, I am a big fan of Black Sabbath. Now, it ain't the Black Sabbath that you're aware of. In fact, the Black Sabbath that you probably are thinking of got its name from a movie called Black Sabbath with Boris Karloff back in the 60s. Okay, that was a big movie. It was a scary movie. It was one of the first ones. It was Mario Brava, who also did Diabolic, which if you've been watching my videos, you see I always have Diabolic stuff in the background. I love Diabolic. And anyway, they got together. They were saying, oh, it's a really cool movie. We should call our band Black Sabbath. So every time I ask Amazon to play Black Sabbath, the Black Sabbath music, it plays what you would expect. What I really want is this, which I was able to get. For those of you in the UK, you know that about Dress Circle Records. I'm a big fan of Dress Circle Records when it was down in Covent Gardens. Every time I would go through London, I would pick up 5 or 6 different albums. So anyway, so my point being that this music isn't available to Amazon. So I own it. I would like to be able to hear it through my Amazon Echo. So My Media is a project that we're going to do that's going to allow you to take your own music and send it up. The problem is it has to be on a computer that's running 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, so that when you say you want to play that music, it plays it. Now, I could take my regular desktop computer and leave that on 365 days a year and choose up who knows how much electricity, or we can use one of these. A little $5, $10 computer. I'm going to show you how to use My Media on this, including storing all the music, because remember, we can put a very large SD card in here. So we can either put all our music on there, or if we really have a ton of music, we can put that on this. And this is all we would need to run My Media. So that's another one. And then the pièce de résistance. The pièce de résistance. Now, a lot of you probably know, or should know, that the Amazon Echo, the Alexa device, is hardware and software. There's hardware that you see, and then the software is up in the cloud. And you can actually access that software through other devices. That's why you're starting to see it come in things like the car. If you saw my review on the Rove Viva, it's in the car. But you can turn this into an Amazon Echo. I'm going to show you how to do that. It takes about 15 minutes. We just have to get it to that same point, and then we go to a couple of different websites. We download some software. It's free. It's legitimate. It's no problem. Amazon encourages it. And then at that point, we can say Amazon Echo, and we can say Alexa, and she will respond to this. So one of the projects I'm going to show you how to do is this. This is a replica of the HAL the HAL 9000 computer from 2001: A Space Odyssey. And I'm going to show you how to, this was 3D printed. I'm going to show you where you can go. If you have 3D files, you send them to this place. They send it back to you in a couple of days. Everything's also, and it's precision. It's all fits together. There's no big deal with that. And then, of course, we want to hang this on the wall. Now, I've taken the easy way out. We're not going to actually use this lens, although this, for the untrained eye, this looks fine. But there's an actual lens that we want to put in there. I won't bother with that now. But in any event, when we're done with this, we want to be able to, say, Alexa, do X, Y, Z. Well, we're going to be able to take one of these, put it in back of here, wire everything up with a rechargeable battery, hang it on the wall, and do that. And, spoiler alert, when you make your Amazon Echo with this, you can change it to any name you want. You can't use it outside of your home because that violates the terms of service. But I will show you how to use this, and then I actually call this HAL. Now the only problem is this HAL's a boy's name. So I may end up making this what's called the SAL 9000, but that's another whole thing. But my point is that we're going to be able to do some really neat things with this. I wanted to get this intro out of the way. I thought if we did this like a quick infomercial that this would be better. I think we're just about done here with this. I'm going to look and see either you're on and you're watching me and you have questions, or nobody's watching me and I'm talking to myself, which is fine because I'm going to take this and use it for later on. But if you have any questions, I'm more than happy. You know that I'm more than happy to answer them. But I needed you to get to this point, so you know what this thing is. You know where we're going to go and get it. We're going to go and get it. You can get it online. I'll have all the links down there. It's $5 or $10. I told you it's not a big deal. You're going to download a file, basically put it on this. You're going to put it in here, and you're going to be all set. You're going to take it. You're going to plug it into any HDMI monitor. Plug it into the living room television set. Doesn't make any difference. You just have to plug it in for a couple of minutes so that you can. You just have to plug it in for a couple of minutes so that you can turn on VNC. Once we turn on VNC, we can use it wherever we want. Now, a quick thing about VNC. VNC allows you to use it anywhere within the house, but for free, they have a little service. All you gotta do is sign up for it for free. They'll let it use it for any place. So what happens is you register your device, and you can take that device to Timbuktu, plug it in, and it would still just show right up on the screen so that you can use it. Okay, that's it for now. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, go ahead and send those through. I'm going to start doing the other projects based on the Raspberry Pi now that I got this Raspberry Pi one out of the way. Again, I really appreciate you guys are doing, I look now and I look at my numbers from what they were before to what they are now, and you guys are really helping out, and I really appreciate that. And if you have any specific questions about something, I've actually met a lot of you, made some really good friends now because of that. Somebody write with a question and I'd answer it and we'd go from there. All right, until then, this is the HiTechNomad signing out. Please hit that like button. Please hit the subscribe button.